In this video, we're going to focus on stress and anxiety within the workplace so that you can create a better team that is more productive and that will bring more leads into your company, and so that you can help your company get higher than it already is by bringing the people with you up.
So welcome to Profit 3 Live, and today we're talking to Liam O'Neill, who's the Prove It guy, and we're going to have some fun here in the Innovation Factory, I know. Liam, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Liam O'Neill. I go as the Prove It guy because everything I do, everything I demonstrate, I can prove that you can do it too. My goal is to teach people that limitation is a mirage, that they can do and be whatever they want. And what's really important is that whenever I demonstrate something that they think is impossible, that they understand that I learned how to do this, and if I can learn it, so can you.
Wow, amazing. So what do? You go and help people that have problems?
It really depends. So sometimes I get hired by a company and I'll go in, and my goal will be to create a team out of the people that's in there. So a lot of companies have people that work there, but they don't have a team. So my goal is to work out what's going on in the team so that they can redevelop it, so that they actually work together and create more business, and just everything goes smoother for them. But what I've noticed is when I do that is you have to work with the individual as well. My specialty seems to be anxiety and depression and just different mental health. So people think of anxiety as someone that's very low, but you can get anxiety from if you're about to go into a meeting. So I would teach you how to deal with that, so that you're going in more focused and your best self, so that you can deliver whatever message it is that you want to deliver when you're in that meeting. And then sometimes I'm just hired to go and do magic and perform for after dinner or something like that. So I'm there as solely a magician. So my job is sort of strange, but it all intertwines. Like even when I do magic, my goal isn't to do, here's a card, lose it, find it, wow, something happened. I want you to feel something. I want you to go away. And one of my mentors talks about it, that everyone has a favourite song and they have a favourite movie because it's emotionally attached, but a lot of them don't have a favourite magic trick that they've seen. So Ian Rowland, he would be one of my mentors, actually helped me with the book as well. And that's something that's always stuck with me, that so as in anything, even when you're doing videos, you're putting yourself in an opportunity to improve someone's day, someone's life. So I try to do that with everything. So it all fits together, just it's a weird spider web that I've created.
Amazing, excellent. And I can understand actually someone outside of a business or company looking inside, and you see things that the team inside don't see it. Mm-hmm. And you talk about anxiety when you go into a meeting. So I have to say, like, there's some meetings I go into, I can actually feel myself physically change. I can actually feel it. Mm-hmm. So still today, most meetings, it's okay. Yeah. But sometimes there's something big on. Yeah. It's there.
That's the most important thing there. Even the way you described it, some meetings, but if I have something big on. So the way I look at it, at every interaction and every meeting is something big. So no matter who I'm with, like I've worked with people that are just starting out. I've worked with people one-to-one just for their own mental health. And I've worked with people that would be considered celebrity. To me, everyone's exactly the same. The mind works the same way. So I never think about it like, right now, this is something big I have to do. Because once you do that, then it becomes, then you're telling yourself, I need to worry.
Game over.
Yeah.
Wow, brilliant. So who is Liam O'Neill?
I'll start at the start. I started, when I was at school, school just wasn't for me. I didn't do well in school at all. Even in P1 and P2. So I wasn't one of them people that got older and decided school wasn't for them. In P1 and P2, my dad would take me to school. He would sit me in my chair, and then he would turn his back, and I'd be at home before he would be at home. And this happened until my teacher had to take me with her to courses and make sure that I stayed in the room that she was in. And that went on. Third year, I stopped doing anything in school altogether. I didn't do PE. I was only allowed in one classroom in the whole building. I left with no GCSEs, no qualifications. Was told that by 19 I would be in jail or the army. That was where I was going with my life. And ended up working in a shop. No prospects, no plan. And a Kung Fu magazine came in that was misordered. And I read it. And I don't know why, but I just decided that was my life. I was going to be, and I come from Oma. There was karate and judo, but there was no kung fu. Like there was nothing like that. And I don't know why, but I just decided like I was going to be Jackie Chan. That was it. Like that was my life. and I studied the magazine. I started watching Jackie Chan movies that night. I ended up 2 days later phoning a number on the back of the magazine, Shaolin Kung Fu, and never left my house ever, never travelled, never did anything. I decided I would agree to go over that weekend. So I got the magazine on a Tuesday, phoned on a Thursday, was in London by the Friday night with no idea what I was doing there, why I was there, what was nothing. Spent a weekend learning, and I just loved it. And I wasn't a focused person. I was actually a really angry young person. For some reason it just like sucked me in, and I just did everything I could to be that. For about 8 years I was told to get a real job. I worked in bars, I was earning good money, and then I randomly decided I would move to London full time and work in the Kung Fu Club.
Amazing.
So from that then I ended up, when I was there, I had no money, I couldn't afford anything. I was actually living in rice and red sauce, which if you've ever tried is horrible.
Yeah, not nice.
But I lived in that for maybe about 2 months. Studied, became the highest ranked in the two martial arts that I study in this country. Became one of the only iron shirt practitioners in this country as well. And in amongst all of that, moved in with a magician. And he showed me a trick that blew my mind. And he put a 10p inside a dead Coke. It blew my mind. So I asked him to teach me, and then ended up studying that. And from that, I ended up getting into hypnosis because people would ask me, can you hypnotize? Now that you're a magician, can you hypnotize? And I used to make up excuses why I couldn't do it. Like I would say, oh, the company hired me, but they don't allow hypnosis. And I just didn't have a clue how to do it. So I decided to go and study that. And then when I started to learn about that, I learned more about how the mind works. And people would say, because you can hypnotize me, can you help me with smoking or losing weight or anxiety? So I thought I better go and learn that too. So I learned that. And then what I do is I find the top in the field. So a guy called Ben Cardall, he's the Sherlock Holmes enthusiast. So when I wanted to learn about body language, I could read books for months, or I could find who's already done what I want to do and then study under them. So that's how I studied for the last 8 years. Whatever I want to learn, I find the top person, and I think that's why LinkedIn and Facebook and all is amazing. That's what I use it for, rather than sitting and just scrolling at like videos of cats. I find whoever's the best at whatever I want to know, and then I go there, and then I become the best at it. Like everything, like again, the Prove It guy, everything I teach you, you could teach your company yourself, or you could hire me, and I could do what you could do in a year, and I could do it in one talk. So it makes more sense to hire a company or to hire someone that has a specialty than try to do everything yourself.
Amazing.
So that's who I am.
No, incredible. That sounds like every place you went has opened another door and another avenue of learning. And it sounds like you've been learning all your life then. Even though you weren't good at school, you've actually been learning skills, life skills, expertise in different areas.
It is funny. I wrote this book, and it was released at the start of this year, 2018. And before that, the first book I ever read was when I was 16. It was George's Marvelous Medicine. So it wasn't even like a fancy book. It was like you should have read that when you were in primary school. Like my wee niece can read that book. And so I think I always will take on a challenge, and I think that we're capable of more than we actually believe, and I like to prove that. And again, then teach people they can do it themselves. But since then, I've been hired back to my school. The school had told me I would never be allowed near it. They've hired me at least 6 times to come back and work with students and teachers and stuff. So you might know where you want to be at any stage in your life. Like I'm 34 now, I know where I want to get to, but it could take me anywhere along the road. But I think a lot of people think they need to know where they are at any avenue in their life. They think this is where you need to be, but you don't need to be anywhere. You need to be wherever you are, and then find out what you would like to do or where you would like to go. Same as you build this business up. You don't want to be here forever. This is an amazing place, but you still want to be somewhere else. But being happy with where you are and what you've achieved so far, once you allow yourself to do that, then it's easier to go to the next step and the next level. So I've been studying, I would say, since I was 17. Up until that, like I didn't do a thing at all.
Amazing. Don't mind me saying, you have a very calming positioning. I actually feel really how you describe again, even where we are and where we want to go. Just a very nice way of putting things. So I have to say, you can really see. And you mentioned actually mentors as well. I caught you mention that. So you've found mentors, found the best, and studied? And do you have a mentor that you go back to, or you go to different mentors?
All of them for each. What I find funny is people will say to me, "But sure, you're really good at what you do," and I'm like, "Ah, but there's people better at aspects of what I do," and then I can go to them. Like you're saying about my voice is calming. Where I grew up, I come from Moma, and we sort of talk like this. So I don't move our jaw, and we don't have, like nothing happens. So I went to. I contacted a vocal coach. Again, I looked for the best one I could find. She lives in London, Marika, and she would, like, this is how I knew she was good. She wouldn't take me over Skype until she heard my voice. So I had to fly over to London. So the next day, flew to London, booked her for 6 hours, learned how to use my voice, learned how to stagecraft, so that I can change what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about something excitable, I need to be able to just switch that on and raise my voice and the tone and the way I move and everything. And then if I want to come back to talk about something else, or to, like, one of the things she taught me most, and I find in Northern Ireland it's something massive, we are afraid of silence. Like when we talk and it gets quiet, then we have to fill that gap, and then we start to talk faster because we want to fill that gap, and then we don't know what we're talking about anymore, and then we don't know when to stop. So Marika spent a long time, like I used to do that, I edit all my own stuff, and I used to edit out silence. So I might say to you, what do you want to be in life? So I'm on video and I say, what do you want to be in life? And then I would edit that instead of giving you the silence to answer. So then I go, and now that you know that, do this, and you haven't even had the chance to do the first bit. So I find a mentor for everything I want to improve on. I have 2 different martial arts mentors that I go to for the different martial arts that I do. Sherlock Holmes, so Ben teaching me about body language, Ian teaching me about reading and all that. Even the way I'm dressed now is because I have a tailor, that because I normally dress very casual, I wanted to stand out and look the part, but I also wanted to feel like, I tell people a lot, I'm great or amazing. So I want to feel that as well. I don't want to just say it. And then, like, if I go on stage and I tell you, you can do whatever you want in life, and then you shout up to me, do 10 push-ups, and I can't do that, then to me my message doesn't match what I look like and how I live my life. So I live my life the way I live my message. So then my mentors, or like I have a nutritionist mentor. Recently I went plant-based to see how that is for your life. Does it change the way I talk and whatever? So I went and found a mentor on that as well. So you find a mentor in everything, and no matter how good you are at something, even if you find someone that you don't consider to be as good as you, they still will see what you don't see. They're seeing you from the outside. It's a completely different
Picture.
Angle. Yeah, it's completely different.
Amazing. And for anyone that doesn't know, your suit, you had the jacket on, amazing, and it's
The
superheroes.
It's the same. That's why I got the Dickie Bow made. It's the same.
It's incredible, yeah.
Even the inlay of it's all superhero. So it's D Graham that makes all my stuff. So he's the reason I look smart on stage.
Yeah, brilliant, love it. And so you went even plant-based as well. So how?
Over maybe about 6 years ago, I've always been slim, and I've trained now since I was 16. And I was always told, you're lucky, you can do whatever you want, you'll never put weight on. Which is really annoying for someone who wants to put weight on. It's weird that I could never say to someone that's overweight, you're really lucky, you're so overweight. Like, that would be rude. But anyone can say it to me, I'm lucky I'm slim. So I used to eat everything that exists because the doctors and all told me, you can eat whatever you want, that's fine. And then one day I went to the doctor and I was like, I want to get my bloods and all done, I want an MOT to see how fit and healthy I actually am. Because I thought I was real super fit and healthy. The doctor rang me about 2 days later, which is not normal for a doctor, saying there's something wrong with your bloods there. We looked at them and can't be right, can you come and do it again? Do the bloods again, rings me again. Your cholesterol is through the roof. Like, my cholesterol was crazy. So I just cut all sweets, chocolate, biscuit, cakes. I just went completely cold turkey about nearly 8 years ago now, I think it is. Just never touched it again. And then over time I've been paying attention to my diet. I'm very bodily aware. And I think that's something that, like you were saying about the bigger meeting, stresses you. So then you know what your baseline is. So then if you stress, you're able to go, something's not right here. But normally we react to that. If I was teaching you this for when you go into the meeting, maybe that heightened sense is adrenaline and excitement, not stress. So adrenaline and excitement reacts with sweaty hands, high pulse rate, maybe you're breathing deeper. That's exact same when you're anxious. Sweaty hands, pulse rate, breathing different, but we think of it, it's how we perceive it. So if you perceive that, right, my heart's going and I'm about to psyched, I'm really excited about this meeting, I'm going to go in and smash the meeting instead of, oh God, I'm a bit stressed about this. So it's how you perceive it. So I'm very bodily aware and I teach people to be. So when I stopped eating meat, I just noticed my body felt better. And then the biggest change ever was when I took out dairy. I didn't expect that. I just thought I'll just get rid of dairy and it'll be fine. And I never considered myself to be nasally or blocked up. And then I got rid of dairy, cheese, milk and yogurts. And it was a massive difference, like a difference I was not expecting. But I think you should do whatever makes you happy. I'm not someone that pushes on diets or health or exercise. I think you should do it because it's good for you. But if you don't want to do it, as long as you're happy doing whatever you're doing, keep doing it. If you're doing it, you're not happy, maybe make a change.
Change something. Very good. So health obviously is someone who's trying to run a business and family and 200 things a day. Obviously something in mind. Still working on it.
One of the ways I put it is I'm a PT for companies. So you hire a personal trainer. They work on your mental and physical health and your diet and everything. I do that for companies. So I go in, I look at everything. You might be telling me you want your sales team to be more aggressive as a sales team. You might want them to work more, work harder, make more sales. I teach you all the sales techniques. Then I call you aside at the end and say, we can teach them every sales technique in the world. They haven't the energy to do it. Like what Shaolin Kung Fu, where I started all this, it exists because the monks wanted to meditate and they weren't strong enough to meditate. They couldn't sit in a meditative pose. They hadn't the strength. So then one of the monks, Tapo, looked at that and said, well, maybe if we do a bit of exercise, we can strengthen our body to do the meditation. So the martial art wasn't designed for fighting or self-defense or any of that. It was designed for relaxation. So the stronger you are, the easier it is to relax. So the way I would put it is, if I'm really fit, then my heart rate generally is about 50, and I can get it up. So I can go from 50 to here, say, and then anywhere in between. So if I want to get really excited, I can raise to here, and if I want to get really calm, I can go here. If you're not fit and you have a heart rate of 70, and you can only get it to here, then you only have a wee window. If you're really excited or really relaxed, you've nowhere really to go with that. So the fitter you are, the easier you're able to go up and down. So that's why I come across more relaxed than most, because I'm able to fully relax, whereas your version of fully relaxed would be my version of a wee bit hyped. So fitness is really important, and I know we started out on mentors. I went on a wee roundabout rant, but you should have a mentor in any aspect of your business, even if it's just someone to look at you and say, I see what you're doing, maybe you want to do this. They might say something that gives you an idea that you don't like what they said, but it might trigger, oh, he's saying that, so we could do it this way, and that would be better for our company. So yeah, mentors, really important.
Yeah, excellent. We talked about anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned anxiety is something that you...
it seemed to be my specialty. Everyone that I dealt with had some form of anxiety, and personally in the past I had food anxiety as well. When I was younger, I used to just eat chocolate spread sandwiches. You had to cut the crusts off, and they had to be crushed really thin, and like to the point, like for most of the time no one knew I had this problem. I was putting plastic bags in my pocket, and when I was given dinner, I would like scoop the dinner and put it in the plastic bag and throw it away later. I was a small child. Even when we went to doctors and stuff, they would say, oh, he needs to eat more, and everyone would be going, he eats all his dinner and everything, and he eats extra sandwiches. That's all I was eating. So I have experience of being an anxious person and overcoming it, and I just noticed that a lot of people will have some form of anxiety. If you don't have it, you will know someone that does. So it's one of the things I teach, and even if I'm not asked to do anxiety, it's something I will teach. This is the most basic thing I teach people. Anyone watching, try this. It's not as easy as it looks. But what you're doing there is creating a link between the left and right side of the brain through your motor cortex, and you're using the nerve endings in your hands, you're stimulating it more, you're interrupting the pattern of what's going on in general, and you are giving yourself something else to focus on rather than what's going on. So if you tried this now, you'd look at it and go, right. And most people end up doing this and staring at themselves, and then look at me going, something's not, I don't know what's wrong. It's such a simple technique, but it has massive it can hit you in a massive way, and it can be done. It can be done anywhere.
Well, you can do it.
You can show
I'll
off
be
with
practicing later.
it. You can do it with 3 or 2 or 1 finger, but it's just this movement. So if you think about it, if you're anxious about a meeting, say the meeting's over here, and you're over there with it, all this stuff's happening, and you're thinking, how could it go? And you're imagining an outcome. So one of the things I would say a lot is, you can imagine whatever you want. Why not imagine something amazing? So you're imagining this outcome being negative. Why not think this is going to be unreal, the best thing ever? But if you can't do that, then start to do something that interrupts that pattern of imagining negative. Gives you something to do with your hands, so you're not just fidgety with your hands. You're doing a technique that actually is designed to relax you, and it creates a rhythm. You can't be anxious and have rhythm at the same time. It's just not how our brain works. So even if you don't trust what I'm saying, the science backs it anyway. So even if you don't like anything about what I just said and you try it, it works, because that's how science works. So this is one of the things I teach. It's in the book as well. I teach it a lot because it's such a subtle thing, and it's easy to do it anywhere.
And it works.
And it works, which is the most important thing.
Is there a difference between stress and anxiety, or the same thing?
It depends. You can be in a stressful situation that you're not anxious about. So if we put you in a stressful situation, that to me would be a situation that's happening, and there's going to be an outcome, and you have to do something about it. Whereas when you have anxiety, you can be in that exact same situation, but thinking about the aftermath, and you're catastrophizing. So stress to me is in the moment, and then once you start to go beyond the moment, like, I have a deadline, I need to get this done, that starts to be anticipatory anxiety. You're starting to change it up. You can be put in a stressful, like if you think of it just like exercise, everyone knows what a plank is, or put you in a plank. That is a stressful situation. Your body is under some form of stress, but you're not anxious about that. So a lot of the physiology is the same, but it's how you perceive it. You know that, like, one of the hardest things about anxiety is it's never going to end. Whatever situation you're in, you don't see the end. Whereas we're stressed, like, I'm really stressed about this meeting, but the meeting ends, and then you're finished being stressed about it. If you're anxious about the meeting, then the meeting's going to make you more anxious. Then how they perceive you in the meeting, and how they talk about you to other people, and there's no end to it then ever. So that's my take on stress. People might think I'm wrong, but that's from my experience what I think the difference between stress is, and then anxiety.
And so basically we cause our own stress in our mind. It's how we view anxiety. It's how we view the situation.
It's how you view it. So again, you can imagine whatever you want. Why not imagine something amazing? So we're coming in here, and there's cameras and stuff, and people will look at the camera and then get stressed. Yeah. And you're like, why are you getting stressed? What if I say something stupid? Well, you just delete it. Why do you say something stupid when you do a Facebook Live? That's why I don't do Facebook Lives. You're like, what is the worst thing that would happen? Like, if you're happy with the worst case scenario, then it doesn't matter anymore. So when I first went, my first company, the Fortune 500 company I went into, I was coming from OMA. I had no qualifications. In my head, I was thinking, like, what are you doing here? And the first question when I met the secretary, she was like, oh, you come in here, do you do hypnosis and all? And she was like, what is hypnosis? And I explained like I would to an 8-year-old. And she was blown away. And then I thought, oh, that's why I'm here, because I have more information about what I know about than they do. And the worst case scenario is, like, I've been on stage and I've been asked a question about medication. When I talk about different drills for anxiety, and they'll say, well, what about, and they'll name a certain medication. I know a lot of people that would blag their way through that, but I'm comfortable to say, actually, I don't know, I'll get back to you on that. Leave me your email address and I'll come back to you. If I don't have the answer, I'm not supposed to know everything. You can't know everything about everything. But you have to be happy that you don't. A lot of people think in their field they need to know everything about everything in case they're asked an awkward question. You're going to get awkward questions, but they're only awkward if you want to have an answer for everything. If you could ask me any question now here, and if I don't know, I will just tell you. I don't know the answer to that, I'll get back to you. So we do create it, we catastrophize, and that's what creates more anxiety. Stress, again, I'm not going to say stress or anxiety isn't real, because it's real to you at the time. But there's a lot of situations I'm in that you would think would be should be stressful. I find them fine. And there's situations that other people are in that have anxiety. So someone might have massive anxiety for elevators or lifts, whatever you want to call it. But they're completely happy going over and asking someone for a cup of tea. And I'll say, are you happy with asking someone for a cup of tea? And they go, yeah, obviously. Do you want to get in the lift? No, I'm not doing that. And you'll find that the complete opposite. Are you happy getting in the lift? Yeah. Go ask them for a cup of tea. No, geez, I'm not doing that. What if they say no? So what is massive to you might be trivial to me. So it's understanding that first, and then you can understand how we work. So we do create it, yes, but we're very good at creating negative outcomes. Like, what if this goes like this? Like, what if it's amazing? So yes, we do. It's just being, again, back to something like this, being bodily and spatially aware to pay attention to what you're talking about and where you're going.
And you're totally right. It's so easy to come up with a negative. It's
Yeah.
And we spend so much time doing it too. No matter what happens.
Yeah.
What to do? Is there easy ways to relieve stress? Short-term fixes that we could do ourselves, or obviously stress. You put yourself in the position you probably need some guidance and help to long-term fix. But is there things like you show?
Things like this are really good. Meditating, obviously, I meditate 3 times a day, and I tell everyone they should meditate. Meditation can be going for a walk. Tai Chi is moving meditation. The meditation I tell people to do is 5 minutes, close their eyes, and just sit. And a lot of people will say that they can't switch off to meditate, but that's not the point of meditating. You meditate to switch off. So thoughts will come in. So if I close my eyes, a thought will come in. There's a good chance something will come in, and normally it'll be something that you think is stupid. And then you argue with that thought. So the way my example is always, imagine I'm sitting down meditating, and then my mum comes in, and my mum says to me, Liam, you need to sort the dinner out. And I shout, get out, I'm meditating, like, leave me alone. That's going to cause an argument. She's not going to leave, she's going to shout at me. Then later on, she's going to be like, I can't believe you shouted at me, and it's going to cause more grief. Whereas if I'm sitting there, and then my mum comes in, and she says, Liam, you need to sort dinner out. And I say, no problem, thanks, I'll be finished in 5 minutes, I'll sort it out. Then she thinks that's going to get sorted. It might never get sorted, but she thinks it is. So she leaves. So the same thing happens. I sit, thought comes in my head. I talk to myself like a mate. I say, thanks for letting me know. I'll sort that out later. And then there's no more conversation. So it's gone. So it has to leave. So that's how you practice it. You don't switch off to meditate. You meditate to switch off. But the main thing is consistency. Like, a lot of people will say to me, no, I've tried. I can't do it. And I'm like, how long did you try for? A couple times, like 2 or 3 times. Couldn't do it. It wasn't for me. And I'd be like, it's the same as my brother. He can't. There's nothing wrong with him. He's physically perfectly okay, but he can't walk. He never learned to walk. Why not? I tried and it didn't work, so we just never bothered with him. So now he just crawls about. And they're like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, I know it's obviously ridiculous. I made that up. He can walk because he failed, and then went, I'm going to keep trying. And then eventually, if you are afraid of failure, which most people are, or if you don't try because you might fail, you're going to be in the same place anyway. You're still not going to have learned the technique or the tool. You're still going to have failed, but we can look at it like, oh, it's alright, I didn't really try. So it didn't really fail if I didn't try, so it doesn't count. But then you're still no further ahead. So to me, meditating would be the biggest stress reliever. And the more you get at it. So if you came to me for anxiety, I would teach you to meditate. I would teach you this and a couple other techniques. And then the second step, see, once you can do this, once you can do that, you then think about something that stresses you. You think about going in a lift or in a car, whatever heights, whatever stresses you. And you try to hold on to that thought whilst you do this. And it dissipates. And then you stop doing that and you think of it again. So you try to get yourself up. So we would mark it out of a 10 being terrible, 1 to 0 being completely gone. And we keep doing that. Then what you've just done is teach yourself you have control over your anxiety, not your anxiety over you, or your stress or whatever. Most people just get stressed, or anxiety just happens. There's no trigger. I don't know, nothing. I just, 1 minute I'm fine, the next minute I'm stressed. There's a trigger. It's either auditory, you hear something that's stressed you before, you smell something, you see something, you feel something that is connected to the memory of that stress, and that's what makes you stressed. So once you get stressed, it's what you do about it. Most people will focus on what stresses them, the negative. And they'll think, how do I get rid of this so I can get to positive over here? My thinking is, this is happening anyway, just let it happen. And think about what makes you feel good, or who do you love, or something that's a nice sensation. What could you pretend to be doing or going to, or a song you could listen to that would make you feel happy. So instead of trying to get rid of negativity, just try to add some happiness. And what you notice is your focus all goes over here now. And this just drifts away because you're not paying attention to that anymore. You're paying attention to the positive. So instead of focus on negative and trying to clear it, add some positive. And then it's the exact same statement I would say if you asked me how to improve my diet. Don't worry about trying to take out the fizzy juice and the chocolate and the sweets and all that stuff. Try to add one good thing a day. Add a piece of fruit. Add a piece of veg. Add another one the next day maybe. Then you'll notice, here that day I added 3 pieces of fruit. I felt better than when I ate the Mars. So again, instead of focusing on you're not allowed, you are allowed. And then whenever you are allowed more good stuff, the more good you feel, the less you want the negative, the less you want the bad food and stuff. So getting into that habit, again, that's consistency though. You need to practice that. It just doesn't come overnight. You're not going to go, oh, I feel amazing now forever, and that's me done forever. It's different with a phobia or something. If you have a phobia, you can get rid of it overnight because most of the time it happened instantaneously. You developed it, so you can get rid of it quicker. But to be a more positive person, you have to consistently do positive things.
Incredible. So you described me meditating there actually as well. So I tried it for about 3 times, and when the thoughts, I actually doing it totally wrong. When thoughts come into my head, I thought it failed. I didn't realise that's part of the process through to meditation.
If you think about why you're meditating, it's funny, like you're meditating to clear your mind. So if you're trying to clear your house, like say if you're sweeping up the living room, you have to sweep the dirt out the door. You don't just sweep it around the place and then sit in the middle of it and be like, oh, I don't see it. So that's what's happening. You're trying to cleanse your mind. So then thoughts come up, like it might be something really basic like sorting out dinner. Or it could be something massive, like you've got a massive meeting and all this needs to be done. It could be something really important or something trivial. But what's happening is it's coming into your brain and your brain's going, is this important? And then you go, not at this moment. This is about relaxing. All right, no bother, go ahead. So I imagine like I'm having a conversation with myself. So then you clear it. It comes in and then you go, yeah, fine, I understand, go on ahead. And then that goes. Same as having a journal beside your bed when you sleep. Can't sleep, all these thoughts in my head. Get up and write them all down. Now they're not in your head anymore. If you can come up with a conclusion or something you can do about it, then write that. If not, then don't. So then you're not going, I wonder what I could do about this. You know, oh, I can't do anything. It sort of ends the conversation now. Like if I come to you for work and I say, I want to be the best swimmer in the world. I see you do a lot of video and stuff. Can you teach me how to swim? And you go, no, we don't do swimming. Then I go, all right. That's the end of the conversation. There's no more to converse about. But if I said I'm a real good swimmer, but I want videos of me swimming, can you do that? Then you should tell me loads of different ways that could be accomplished. So it's the same idea. So when you meditate, thought comes in, it's important at that moment. Ask yourself how important it is and what you need to do with it. And if it's not that important and you don't need to do too much with it, then just let it go.
Amazing. And
then just do that every day.
Yeah. And some tips for meditating. Do we need a empty room? Does it need to be quiet? Is morning, night, after dinner, before dinner?
The time I always say to people is do a 5-minute silent meditation at any point in the day, but the best time to do it is going to be last thing at night, because that's when people get annoyed that they didn't achieve their goals during the day. So if I said to you, I want you to do 30 squats a day, you get into your bed, you're all comfortable, and then you go, oh, I didn't do my squats. You're not going to get out of bed and do them now. You're just going to be annoyed at yourself. Even though it would be quicker to do them and get them done, and then you're not going to be annoyed at yourself, but you're just going to be annoyed with yourself. When it's a 5-minute silent meditation, you get into bed, you're all comfortable, and you go, oh, I didn't do my meditating. I'll just do it now. Like it's better because it's going to help you go to sleep. You just close your mind off and you're trying to switch off anyway to go to sleep, so it's good then. But anytime, if it's someone that's really got a high pressure, stressful job, I always suggest that when you drive home, or however you get home, however you commute home, if you're in the car, sit in the car for 5 minutes before you go into the house. if you can't do that, then go into the house. Have your family be aware of this. You go into the house, you go to your room, 5 minutes, and what you're doing there is switching off from work to home. So don't take your work home with you. I know some people have to, but you don't have to take your work home with you from you get in the door till you go to bed. You can allocate like time for your family or yourself if you're not a family person. So you sit in the car and you switch off 5 minutes, cleanse yourself from the work. Tell yourself before you do it what the point is. So if I was sitting in the car, I would say, right, I have a load of work to do, but I'm not going to do it for the next 2 hours, so I don't need to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are up, I'm going to put them to bed, then I'll get the work done from 7 to 10, that's when I'll work. So then I'm saving myself from 5 to 7. I don't need to worry about that and think I should be doing X, Y, and Z, because you don't have the time anyway, so you may as well do the family bit. Plus, you're not taking your work home, so you're not anchoring your stress to your family. If I come home every day and say if I have kids, I come home and every time I see them, I'm stressed from work. Then on a Sunday when I see my kid, I've anchored all week them in stress. So then for some unknown reason in my head, the kid just annoys me, or the wife annoys me, or the husband annoys me, or whatever, and I can't link it. But what you're doing is creating anchors all week. So you switch off before you go into bed or into your house, and that gets you the chance to be then the family man. Then you could do it again when you go to bed, switching off again, because your goal is to go to sleep. Best way to sleep is to not have your mind going 100 miles an hour, so switching off. Put the tongue to the roof of your mouth, and that creates if you tried it now, whenever it just sort of turns off your thinking. It does two things. I teach this a lot. It does two things. One, it turns off your thinking. It's just, again, it creates a connection, and that switches off the chattering monkeys. And also, you can't speak with your tongue to the roof of your mouth, so it saves you from saying something stupid when you shouldn't say anything stupid. Not only to someone you're having a conversation with, but also to yourself. When people fail at meditating, they have a wee argument with themselves about how terrible they are at meditating. Mm-hmm. But if I handed you 3 juggling balls and said, juggle those, and you've never juggled before, and you fail, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm terrible. You would go, oh, I don't know how to juggle, because you haven't learned. So same thing with meditating, you haven't learned how to do it for you. So after, they would be the main ones I would focus on before you become the family person when you get home, or the home person if you're on your own, and when you go to bed. And lie or sit comfortably. You don't have to cross-legged, like get up and go, and like that's one of the reasons people can't do it. It's not comfortable. So they're like, nah, I can't do that. Lie somewhere comfortable, somewhere safe, that if you did meditate so well that you fell asleep. Like that's another thing. A lot of people would be like, I can't meditate, I keep falling asleep. Brilliant. You've got so relaxed, you actually put your body to sleep. That's what was your goal. I wanted to meditate. Why? So you'd relax. Yeah. But you slept instead. Yeah, that's good. Set an alarm so you don't sleep the rest of the evening, but set a wee alarm for yourself to wait. And if you are prone to sleeping, but they would be my main 2 focuses.
Amazing, excellent. And going back to offices and workplace and all the good things that we do in our day-to-day job, is there a way to avoid stress in work, or is it again back to mindset?
You're not going to avoid it, especially if you want your company to succeed. You're not going to avoid stress, because you're going to put yourself in stressful situations so that you get like your mind and your body don't grow unless they're stressed. Like that's how someone who wants to build biceps, they tear their muscle, just put it under stress so it rebuilds. It's how your team deals with it. And what I noticed in companies is what is very important is for people to understand that it is okay to be stressed. Like one of the ways I would have sold myself to companies at the very start was I guaranteed I would save them money. And how I would do that is I would cut down sick days, because of the amount of people that take off sick because of stress is massive. And most of that would be down to me chatting to the owner or HR and saying, you need to do stuff that de-stresses your team. You need to do team building for team building, not team building to improve our business. Team building to improve our team. If you have a good team, you have a good business. If you have a bad team, you have a bad business. So if you arrange team building and you hire me in and you say, right, the goal is, and you tell your team, he's going to talk to us, he's going to teach us about sales, and we're going to improve our sales. They're coming into me thinking, no matter what I say, they think we have to improve sales somehow. Mm-hmm. So if they go in, it's just about building a team, building better rapport between the team, so you understand each other's job. You make your team feel part of the company, not just a worker, and you make them feel cared for. So when you go in and you teach different ways to deal with stress, and the fact you're allowed to be stressed, like it's something that we find weird. You're like, oh, what's wrong? Are you stressed? What are you stressed about? I'm not stressed, and you're stressed to the nines as well. Then nobody's agreeing anybody's stressed or allowed to be stressed, so nobody does anything about it. So say you know this, right? So you go to work tomorrow, someone's stressed, you go, are you alright? I can't get this job done, this is happening. Especially when you work with so much technology, stuff just breaks. It's annoying, there's nothing you can do about it. But you still freak out. So you could go, instead of going, this is a technique that I learned for stress and I think you should try it. You go, here, I've been trying this. And so say you're talking to me, I would do it like it's, like I wasn't even really overly listening. Here I was trying this weird, I'm just about getting it. Can you do this? Is this hard to do? And then start to do it right. And then they do it with you. So you're not saying, right, we're about to do a technique that's designed to help you de-stress. Changing the pattern and teaching them something without teaching them it. So then they learn this, and then you go, so how do you feel now? Not too bad. Do you think you can move on? Like, you can't avoid it, but you can do so much to make it easier. Like I want the people I work with, I want to put themselves in stressful situations. I want you to create a gym program that is hard. I want you to, whenever I go to a mentor, like when I go to Ben and I say, Ben, right, I want to be task. I don't want it to be something simple like, Liam, go and remember. Like the last thing he asked me to do was to learn how to memorize a shuffle deck of cards. That's 52 things that I'm so used to using on a day-to-day basis.
But memorize it.
That now to memorize it, I have to break all these different links I've already made when I perform to be able to do that. So I shuffle the deck and then I can go through it. If he had said to me, Liam, I want you to remember 6 items, that would be easy. Like, so put yourself in stress so that the more stressful the situation, the easier it is for you to deal with stress in general. Because again, like I said, when you learn this properly, you then think about what stresses you and then teach yourself, oh, I can control that. Simple as this. This is what it feels like. Maybe I don't even need to do that anymore. Maybe I can feel stress building. Just breathe, relax, move on. Ask yourself, is it really something worth giving yourself a heart attack over?
We know stress obviously impacts our minds. Does it, in your opinion, impact bodies as well?
Yeah. I can guarantee you've never met a person that feels physically sick but mentally fully alert and fully aware. The stomach to me is your second brain. Stomach feels bad, you feel lethargic, you feel tired. And the same thing, you never meet someone that has mental stress going on that looks bright, healthy, ready to go. Like, that's why for people when they talk about depression, like you can nearly spot someone that has deep depression because they sink into themselves. They look, that's why there's a saying, you look depressed. Like they look depressed and they sink in. Anxiety, it affects the body. Like they move. Like it's a weird thing. They're very, very fidgety and they move a lot. And yet mentally they want to be invisible. And it's one of the things I point out a lot. I say you want to be invisible and you're the most visible person in the room. You're moving and you're jumping about. So if we can control the body, how do we control that? Breathing. Like one of the first things I will teach you about anxiety is your breath will generally do this and then relax. That's made you aware if you're breathing. Most people aren't aware. If I say to you, how do you normally breathe? Are you a high chest breather, a low chest breather, or a stomach breather? Do you even know?
Probably guessing high, but probably don't know.
Nobody has a clue. So then if you're stressed and I say to you, are you stressing? My breathing's not right. I go, is it not? How do you normally breathe? I don't know. Then how do you know it's not just perfect and you're just aware of it now? So whenever your body does that, it's taking on oxygen. So it's an actual physical reaction that is needed because we go freeze, fight or flight. Most people just claim we do fight or flight. But before that we freeze to make the decision whether we're going to run away or fight. The body needs to prepare itself for a fight or to run away. The way that we prepare is we pump our body full of oxygen. So how we do that is we go sharp intake of air, get as much oxygen, we're about to do something, let's go. So when someone knows that's normal, then they stop freaking out about their breath. So I explain everything very logically. So whenever you're aware of that, then again back to, can you control stress? Yes, if you understand how your body reacts to it. So if your version of stress is like a flutter in the stomach, flutter in the stomach builds, flutter in the chest, heart rate, so you start at the start, you go, God, I'm fluttering in my stomach here. Maybe I'm going to stress. What about that thing? Do we need to stress about that? Not really. Now you just calmed yourself down without thinking, because you're aware of the start. So the start sensation. Some people feel it like a spiral, and then I would teach them, if you're aware of that, you can change it. Like say you have a spiral and it just takes over and then it stresses. So imagine that and then change the direction. So if it goes clockwise to make you stressed, just anti-clockwise obviously makes you not stressed then. And it seems so stupid, but when you try it, you go, all right, enough, because you're in control of your body, you're in control of what it does. This is a stressful position. So me moving you, getting you to open your hands, doing a power pose, counting with your hand, it's changed that physical to here. So I think it's massively affects, like, think about before weddings, everyone's been at a wedding or talked to people getting married. What have you had for breakfast? I haven't eaten anything. No, I'm not eating anything after my speech. No way. You're like, you're going to go through the most important day of your life, starving yourself, and then try to do a speech. Like they're so stressed about the speech going wrong that they're going to starve themselves, which is something they don't normally do. They're going to put themselves in a worse position to deliver what they hope is going to be the best thing they possibly could deliver. So why are you not eating? Because I'll throw up. So obviously that is affecting the stomach. So I think massively, yeah.
What's your thoughts on medicine then to help with stress? Or do you have thoughts on it? Maybe not.
Well, medicine is a tricky one. Like one of the things I really don't like is it happened a lot whenever we wanted to make mental health talked about more. They were like, get rid of the stigma. What came with that was, you don't need medicine. The best medicine is nature. If you have a psychological problem where the chemicals aren't firing properly, like say schizophrenia for example, and I say to you, oh no, you just need to go outside, you're grand. That is terrible advice. Terrible advice. Like some medicine is needed. Like whenever I studied Tai Chi, we were told it would reverse like pain and arthritis and stuff. I do a lot of work with people with pain, but I would never say to you, stop taking pain medication, just do this. But I would say, do this and be aware of your medication. So if the medication is for pain, for example, and you can do something that loosens you up and meditates, keeps you relaxed, so you're not in pain anymore, then you don't need to be taking medication. You need to go and get it checked again. So I would always say, go and check with the doctor. Same as you might have massively high blood pressure, and then I help you change your diet. That will lower your blood pressure. But I'm not going to say to you, don't take your medicine. I'm going to say, go and get it rechecked, reevaluate. You might still need a certain type of medication. Same as with anxiety and stress. Some people need the medication, but it becomes a crutch. And then even if you chemically need it, you still don't want it to be your crutch. You still want to practice becoming self-aware. You want to practice tools that you could use that help you anyway, because these tools help you whether you take medicine or not. They're still going to help you. So I think if people are taking medicine, I do think like painkillers are oversubscribed, and I think a lot of people will just take them for everything that exists. If they get a chance, they will just take one. And I have worked with people with through hypnosis where they're on maybe 13 a day, and after one day you're able to drop it down by half. Because the same as smoking, whenever I work with people with smoking, people need a cigarette. They need one. They need one. And then I'll say to them, right, so you think you're addicted. How many do you smoke a day? 10, for example. How long have you been doing that? 20 years. That's not how addiction works. Addiction works where you need something, and then over time you need more of it, and more of it, and more of it, and more of it to get the same response. If you're taking the same amount the whole time, then that's not an addiction, that's a habit. So yes, you feel you want it, but most of it's habit. Same as people saying they don't feel right till they have their first coffee in the morning. Like that's an addiction to them, but it's just a habit. They feel they need their coffee. So I believe that in some cases people need it, and I would never say to anyone, don't take medicine, but I think like there's so much with placebo and nocebo that you like can test it out. And I've talked to people that take CBD oil, and I will add suggestion to their, when they talk to me, they'll say, "Oh, I take it, and I really notice that after a few hours that the pain starts to go," and I might say to them, "Oh, did you know if you take it standing up?" Because most people will take it sitting down. If you take it standing up and you hold it for a minute, it will affect your body differently. I'm lying, like, but I'll say it'll affect your body differently, and you'll notice that instead of 3 hours to your rid of pain, it'll be like 1.5, 2. And then they come back to me and they say, "God, that really works, stand." But it's because it's in their head and that's what they believe. So whenever, if I was given any medicine, I would always give suggestion with it. Like I used to do it when I was PTing. I would say to people, "Oh, here's Lucozade Sport," and it would just be Diluent Orange, cheaper. You feel, "Oh, I feel fatigued, I feel a wee bit sick. Oh, take a wee bit of that Lucozade Sport, so you know all of the stuff that's in it will get you buzzing," and then they'd be buzzing. And it's Diluent Orange, because I couldn't afford loads of Lucozade Sport.
Excellent. Amazing. Back to your book. Do you mind telling us a little bit about it and what the topic, what do you cover?
The book is called Limitation is a Mirage, for two reasons. One, I truly believe our limits are our own. We make it stuff that I have achieved. People would look and go, "I would never be able to do that." I mean, it was not special about me. I did it because I trained, and plus it spells my name Liam. So I thought that was genius.
It does. I actually really like that. That's brilliant.
That came about. I met Ian Rowland at a magic event, actually in Belfast. He had first time over in Belfast, and we met, and I demonstrated a few things, and we got talking, and he said, "You should write a book." And I thought I didn't have the time to write a book because of the amount of work I was doing, and if anyone contacts me, I will answer any question. I will talk to everyone that contacts me. And then I thought that would make more sense. So if I make a book, if I write a book with all my techniques and all my teachings in it, then that will save me time in the long run. So when people come to me for questions, I can just direct them towards the book. Like, the book isn't designed to make me money. You're not going to make millions off a book, not yet.
It's a hefty book though. There's plenty in it.
It's just all pictures. No, there's a few like this game is in it, and it's in pictures, just because it's easier to describe. But it's broken into 12 sections, so it teaches you about confidence and sleep, and a wee bit about diet and exercise, and it comes along with MP3s you can download from my website and videos to follow along like I do office mobility and just morning mobility. The point of the book was to put all of my teachings into one place. So then at the end, if I teach a course, I can say, if you buy the book, or if you want to download the book, you can get it for, like, all the stuff is going to be in it. So I worked with Ian for about 2 years to get, like, he was amazing. He was able to, I didn't know anything about writing a book. I didn't know that books had specific layouts, and then different layouts for Kindle and EPUB and all that. I didn't know any of that stuff. So he worked with me on all of that. And what I noticed from doing it as well, it's made me more, it gives me more credibility whenever I'm doing what I'm doing. For some reason, when I say, I could tell you everything I do and all of the stuff and everything, and say, "This is how I can help your company." And when I end with, "And if you want to learn a wee bit more and you want to take a look at my book," they go, "You wrote a book? You must be good." Like, I must just automatically be good because I wrote a book. So it's, that was the whole point of it. So it's broken down. It'll teach you how to sleep better, how to micro nap, and how to power nap, all that sort of stuff. Teach you how to be more mobile. Teach you a wee bit about persuasion, not too much. Persuasion is something that a lot of salespeople want me to teach, but everyone should learn about persuasion, because you're dealing with people every day. So if you can learning about persuasion so that you can deal with people is amazing. But learning about it so people can't trick you into doing stuff it's just important to know both sides of it. Concentration, focus, just everything I think you need in day-to-day life, not just business. But the more you incorporate it into your business, the better your business will be. Again, my goal is that if you hire me for your business, is that a year from that you can look back and go, "That was really useful stuff. We've all been using it, and it has increased our productivity or increased our markup or whatever." Instead of, "Remember that guy came and did a few card tricks there, it was amazing, wasn't it?" So I don't do PowerPoint. I use magic, I use cards, I use martial arts to demonstrate. If I'm teaching about body language, I'll do a card trick rather than talking and over PowerPoint and explaining everything. That's how people like to work. I just know personally I wouldn't enjoy PowerPoints. So if I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm not going to be able to deliver it.
Totally understand. So if someone wants to get the book or
They-
to reach out to you,
They can reach out to me. They can find me. I'm all over social media. So you can find me everywhere. Liam O'Neill or the Prove It guy, or my website's called Limitation is a Mirage. You can buy the ebook on Amazon as well, and you can get it. You can contact me with any if you have any questions. If you want to ask me about anything I've talked about or anything I didn't talk about, but did you see that I do? And I'm very active on social media. I try to do a video a day, or I might miss a day here and there, but I try to be quite active, and they'll be based on my teachings, or like the last video I did was why is everybody happy? If you ask someone how are you, why are we all happy with good, grand, I'm alright, I'm okay? Why is nobody awesome or amazing or fantastic, or why is our day not brilliant? And I noticed when I first started to try to make myself sound more positive and be more positive, people used to actively go out of their way to text me and say, why are you saying awesome? That's American. No, because I am pretty awesome. Like, I feel great, I feel awesome. I go, but do you really? Like, you couldn't maintain. I find a lot of social media people is they try to put on a persona of what they think people want to see, but you can't maintain that. Like, if you fall, like I did it one day, I did a Snapchat day, so I videoed myself throughout the entire day from when I got up, every single thing I did and worked, and I kept doing it. And it was basically me going, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm going to do here. And every so often my sister would video me doing something random. I'm always doing something. Like I talk to people a lot about mobility. I brush my teeth standing on one leg, and then I switch legs. You can incorporate your mobility into everything. You can incorporate your mindset into everything. So I couldn't, if this was a persona, I just couldn't maintain it. I would run out of steam eventually. Whereas I practice what I preach. I live what I say, and I think that everyone can do that if they want. And that's again where the book came out, and why if you follow me on social media, you will see that's what I do day in, day out.
excellent. Thank you very much.
No problem.
That was brilliant. So definitely recommend checking out Liam's videos on social media. I'm going to be doing that and engaging and
Thank you.
learning, I'm sure, every day or every second day when the videos are published. And that was an amazing education again as ever, and thanks to Liam for coming in, really appreciate it. So that's us, it's Kieran from Profile Tree, the content marketing agency, coming to you from the Innovation Factory on the Springfield Road. Looking forward to you joining us in our next video tomorrow. Thank you again.